My mom is actually from Honduras.
Okay.
My dad's from El Salvador. So because of the war in that time, we left and we landed in Mexico. At the time, Canada was accepting refugees at that time.
Right, yeah.
So we're just like, okay, we're going to Canada. And then, 2 weeks later, we have all our stuff packed and, they're in a completely different country. And so I'm basically like El Salvadorian, Honduran,
That's
Mexican, Canadian, and now I live in this beautiful country, man. Taiwan. Fell in love with the place and fell in love with the people.
Cole Fogel here, and today I am with
Carlos Serros from Vancouver, BC. I named my son Carlos, and my dad's name is Carlos.
Oh, I love that, Dad.
Yeah,
I love
so
that.
my family has, I think, 4 Carloses.
Sorry, your mom and dad are in Vancouver, BC still?
Yeah, they live in Vancouver, that's right. Pretty blessed to be able to grow up there and have all my childhood and, most of my youth and stuff there, right?
Did your parents immigrate to Vancouver, or were they
did.
already?
No, we did.
Or you did as well?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so from Mexico.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there is actually a backstory from that. My mom is actually from Honduras.
Okay.
My dad's from El Salvador. So because of the war in that time, we left and we landed in Mexico. And, they spent time there. I was born. We were there for about 3 years after I was born, or 2 years. And then at the time, Canada was accepting refugees at that time.
Right, yeah.
So the old man, filled out
Good
the
choice.
application, and we checked off a couple of boxes, which was Canada, Sweden, Germany, Australia. Wow. We were really lucky that it was Canada. So I'm basically like El Salvadorian, Honduran, Mexican, Canadian, and now I live in this beautiful country, man. Taiwan.
Have you ever talked to your dad or your mom about, like, what was it like being an immigrant in Canada? Was it a challenging life at first, or was it easy for them?
Yeah, no, it was challenging because of the language barrier,
Yeah.
and we didn't know anybody. We haven't had a clue of what we were doing, and then we were just like, okay, we're going to Canada, and then 2 weeks later, we have all our stuff packed, and they're in a completely different country, and they were just sitting ducks, right? They're just like, what do we do now? And just, well, you sit here in this hotel until we tell you.
The government.
Yeah,
okay.
the government. Yeah. Help
or immigration or whatever.
That's right. And so we were just sitting in this hotel, and they.
You actually remember this?
I don't, but my dad told me stories, and I remember them taking pictures when we got there.
But you were how old at this point?
I think I was 2, 3.
Like a toddler.
Yeah, I was a toddler.
Dude.
Yeah, I was a toddler. Growing up in Canada, I mean, I still feel like I'm Canadian as well too, right? Like I love saying I'm Mexican, but I also love saying that I'm Canadian because Canada gave me a lot of my identity.
Of course, yeah. What brought you to Taiwan? Obviously, would be my next question. And then, at what point did Taiwan come into the picture?
2012. I actually remember the date. February 26th, I believe.
To Kaohsiung?
To Kaohsiung.
Cool.
Yeah. My brother was living out here, and he moved out here in 2006 to come and visit his friend originally, and he was like, man, I'm staying. He's like, I'm
cool.
Not coming back. So he stayed out here for 6 years, and then in his last year, his final year, I came out here to visit him. He was basically ready to depart from Taiwan, and he's like, I'm gonna be leaving, so you have to come and check this place out. It's at least just come visit me for 3 months.
Where's he now? He's back in Vancouver?
He's back in Maple Ridge, actually. I didn't think I was gonna like this place.
We never think that way when we come here, and then
I landed, and my first 2 weeks, man, I fell in love with this place. It was just a different change. The people were just, I can't even describe it. It's just like the experience that I had was a change in my life, because at the time I wasn't really doing much with my life, and I was really young, and I was kind of like, where do I go? I was like, I didn't have really any direction.
You were in your 20s when you came?
It was in my 20s. And then I landed here, and I just fell in love with the place. Just the people were so different compared to back home.
Like really friendly.
Super friendly. Fell in love with the place and fell in love with the people.
What was that like when he left? Did you feel lost that first year, or was it just exciting because you were in your 20s and it was an adventure?
I'm actually very outgoing, so I like to talk to people and make friends right away. I'm that type of guy, right? So when my brother left, I made friends, but his best friend was here as well.
Oh,
he was doing his MBA at Sun Yat-sen. So he showed me around, and actually one of the stories that really sticks out is that he took me to Maolin.
Oh yeah, Maolin. Yeah.
Where the
the mountains in Kaohsiung.
Yeah, exactly. And we went camping for one night, and it was cool because we rode our first time riding a motorcycle out here. So we took a motorcycle all through the city, and then we got outside the city, went into the mountains, and then it was dark by the time we got to where we were, going. We stayed near the hot springs, and we pitched the tent, and we were just hanging out. And he's like, we got there at night, so I didn't really expect the scenery. I didn't have a clue. Like, man, in the morning you're gonna be blown away. These guys came at that same area, and they hooked up a light with this rickety battery, and these guys were just fully covered in tattoos. They started chatting with us and stuff, and they ended up feeding us their barbecue, and they're really cool people. And at the end of the night, they packed up their stuff, and we went to bed, and they took off. And in the morning, man, that view was just stunning. I can't even explain it. But you're just in between these two mountains. It wakes you up with this fresh breath of air, and you have this like nice river running down. And Taiwan's been nothing but awesome experiences out here, man. First year that I was here, I wanted to get to know the city by myself a little bit at night, and it was like the first week. And he said Costco sells pizza, so I went to Costco. Leaving Costco, and I don't know what happened, but I ended up like...
No, you went the wrong way.
I went the wrong way. And I was like, man, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm lost. And I called my brother, and I'm like, hey, I don't know where I am. I'm lost. I think I took a wrong turn, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, just go to the nearest gas station or ask somebody, and literally I was at a light. And I got off my motorcycle, and I walked to the guy that was at the light. And I said, do you speak English? And he's like, a little. A little. And I was like, I need Bo Ai Lu. I was just saying Bo Ai Lu. And he's like, you come
Oh my God, he had you follow him.
Yeah, and he was going like a complete
the opposite
way.
Yeah.
And he we made a U-turn, and we went back around, and he got me to Bo Ai Lu, and right away I knew. I'm
so
like,
nice.
Awesome, I know where I am.
Like our phones can literally
Everything.
You can't get lost anymore.
Exactly, but I didn't have a smartphone. I had one of those little flip phones.
Just a phone.
Yeah, just the regular phone.
Kind of miss getting lost.
Kind of, yeah.
Because you just can't get lost anymore.
Yeah,
It's like... Anyway, when we met, you had your kids with you.
Yeah.
You have three kids,
3 kids.
Yeah? How long were you dating before you actually got married and then the kids came along?
Well...
Or was the first one not intentional?
The first one wasn't intentional.
Which happens.
Yeah, which happens. And we were dating for, I don't know, a while. And it's just, she's like, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm like, all right. So,
How old were you at that point?
I was 30, I think. We were kind of like dating at the time, so we weren't living together. So we just said, hey, like, let's try to make this work and move in together and, build a family. And she's like, all right, let's do it. She's Aboriginal. She's
cool.
Paiwan.
Oh, cool.
Well, we were together since the end of 2012. And then we got married in 2013,
Okay.
a year later.
Yeah.
And then I think we just separated 2 years ago. Unfortunately, I don't see my kids every day, which
I'm sure you'd like to.
I would take seeing my kids every day before anything else, but the cards are already dealt, so I have to play my hands. I still see them every 2 weeks.
I'm happy for you that you still see your kids, because I've heard of foreigners divorcing Taiwanese people, and then that's it. It gets cut off, or the court system favors the wife, and the father gets like kind of almost like taken completely away from the kid. Like I've known people that it went through this, and I'm really grateful for you and for your kids that things worked out, that you can still be part of their life.
I'm fortunate that, she had a clear head, and she was able to say, hey, I want the father to be a part of their life.
See, that's so cool that she thought that way.
She knows how the interaction with my kids, man, like they mean everything to me.
You're a DJ, right?
Yeah. When I first started, I was 16.
Wow.
Started DJing. Yeah.
Oh, in Canada you were DJing.
In Canada, back home. I did have a name back at home. I was already like DJing at parties and all that other stuff. And
what was your name?
Dubsy, DJ Dubsy.
DJ Dubsy in the house.
Yeah. When I came out here, my brother said, hey, you have a good opportunity to actually make a little name for yourself out here. And thankfully, I got to give a shout out to Brickyard. Thank you guys for everything that you guys have done for me. Their contacts led me to be able to take stuff internationally.
Oh, cool.
And be able to go to the Philippines.
And that's what led to the Philippines.
Thailand, Japan, and
Sweet.
DJing out in those places. I'm not really religious. I don't consider myself a religious person, and I don't go to church or anything like that. But I'm a person of faith. I got faith.
Do you have any philosophy that you live by?
Being nice and genuinely nice to people. Don't be disingenuous to somebody.
Yeah, be sincere.
Exactly, be sincere, and always speak your truth. Always speak what you really think.
So important.
I feel like when somebody's giving you a chance to speak up, you should. Or if something is making you feel uncomfortable, and you should definitely say it, because you know what, you're put in a position where you have two choices, whether you say it or you don't say it. And I always choose to say something, even if it makes the moment awkward. I rather have everything out in the open and
100%.
say what you need to say, instead of saying like, oh no, I don't really want no trouble. But it's not really having trouble, it's just saying what you need to say.
I actually think there's three choices. You either walk away,
Yeah.
speak up, like you're saying, or fully accept the situation if you're not going to speak up, and be okay with it, truly be okay with it. But if you're truly not okay with it and you can't walk away, then you need to speak up and say something.
I think you're right, and I've never looked at that.
Yeah.
I've never looked at it that way. You're right, there are three
You either walk away, accept it fully if you can, but if you really can't accept it, then there's just the two choices, walking away or speaking up.
Yeah, you're right.
But if you stay in a situation, any situation, work, relationship, and you can't accept it fully, and then you have this hidden resentment, that is so much worse than walking away or speaking up.
Yeah, because it's eating you alive.
Oh, it will cause cancer. It will cause disease.
Yeah, that's right. That is I kind of fall back into my father being a liver transplantee.
Wow.
A cancer survivor. I remember him being a lot of stress, like being the main provider of the family, having, myself, my mother, and 3 other kids. Bills add up. You got mortgages, bills. You got
it's
kids
a lot of weight.
growing up. There's a lot of weight and stress and all that. And I remember my dad being really stressed out, really times where it was just like better not to even ask how your day was.
Yeah.
We're all quiet at the dinner table. You can see like the tension with my dad and my mom, and just growing up with all that stress. And I think
that's trauma for you. But that's the trauma that lives in you until you recognize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think him not being able to have certain resources to be able to vent his stuff out, like being able to like have friends where you
or
can
be
just,
a DJ like what you were doing, like having those outlets.
Exactly, having those outlets, right?
Yeah.
And him just having that like worker mentality, coming to Canada, providing, and all this.
I can't imagine what that's like
So
as an
out.
immigrant,
Yeah.
Because we're immigrants here, but like it's nothing.
But it's nothing.
This is not like Taiwan has got to be the easiest place
100%,
to fall into.
100%. It's
Like,
one of the easiest.
I'm saying I could feel the weight of what you're saying about your dad.
And I think that, leading up to his illness, I think that was a lot of the reasons why, we talked about it, when he was in the hospital going through his operations and stuff like that. And we like all the kids came down, and we were like, talking about it. And it's just like stress is one of the leading causes of like,
much.
illnesses. I believe what you said is that like you need to have some sort of outlets where you can hobbies or outlets, or
you need to let that energy out somehow.
Let that energy out, man.
Yeah.
Let it out and be able to talk about it and not be so awkward and
yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can't get used to in Taiwan?
I've adapted myself really well.
It sounds
here.
like it.
I've adapted myself really well. And, when I go out to eat with my Taiwanese friends and we're eating huoguo, hot pot.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Yeah, one of my favorites. A lot of even like servers, like people that are serving us and they bring us the hot pot, they are surprised that I'm able to eat like the duck blood. But back to your question, I honestly think that I've adjusted really well here, and I don't have anything that I don't have anything. Probably the driving.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's hard not to think of that, but you're probably like me. You're used to it right now. It doesn't really
it doesn't bother
affect
me.
you anymore mentally.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm probably part of the bad driving myself. Like
Yeah.
I just join the chaos
You know
and
what?
just commit to it.
You adapt to it, right? Because you just adapt to it, and you drive like how everyone drives here.
Yeah, I appreciate this this chat, brother.
Yeah, man.
I hope I get to see you DJing at some point.
Hopefully, yeah.
And any final words of wisdom you want to share before we end this chat?
Take risks in life because you don't know the outcome. Like I took a risk coming out here, and I didn't know that I was going to be able to be blessed with 3 beautiful kids and also some friends that I call family now. I owe a lot to them for helping me out and pave the way out here. And yeah, take risks because you don't know what life brings you, and enjoy every moment that you can that you're blessed with.
I like
That's it.
Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.